What's up, pirates? We're back here with another video. This time we're doing Union Arena. I have my boy Izzy here.
What's up, guys?
We are getting ready for Sword Art Online, and we went ahead and printed out some proxy decks, and we wanted just to get y'all ahead of the game and learn about the colors. I think Sword Art Online is featuring blue, green, and yellow.
Yellow.
Yeah. Today we're gonna go over the blue deck, which is also the starter deck. So this might be cool for those who just want to pick up a starter and probably just a couple of cards. How does this deck work? Is this really aggressive? Is it more like setup late game control? How do you see it?
So this deck, it's Blue Aincrad, right? So the first season of SAO.
Best season.
And the best season, obviously, Peak.
Peak.
So basically, this is a multi-attack deck. So it's very aggressive, very. You have your raids that are basically always going to do multiple hits.
Dang.
And then you're going to be doing, switching with the Asuna and then the Kirito.
Switch. We've had a deck previously. We have had two decks actually as of now that do that. We had the Tanjiro Nezuko and then the One Punch Man Speed Sign of Sonic. Yeah. So do you think moving forward that's like the meta, like being aggro and being able to push up your energy?
Yeah, I think so. So there's kind of like an impasse between if you want to go into super, high end with green OPM, coming out.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I'm gonna mill everything until I get to my Saitamas, and the contrast to that is obviously swinging multiple times with small bodies and then trying to end the game really fast.
Yeah, I feel that right now, especially we recently had our One Punch Man battle, and I think what topped was green and yellow. I think
it was green metal bag.
Green metal bag. So the more aggressive side of green, and then he did top, and then yellow.
He told me he ran like 16-0 cost, so he was going for a straight aggression.
Yeah, that's crazy. So in this blue Aincrad, what are some cards that you want to see? What are some cards that typically you want to win with? I'll let you take it up from here.
Absolutely. So, I guess we can start with the main characters, which are, we've got our boy here, Kirito. He's a normal 0 cost, 1500, get trigger, all of that. And then we have our Asuna right here, 0 cost, 2k BP, and then it has active trigger, active trigger, we love those.
We love those, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, these are our raid targets. And what we really want to see is the raids, right? So the kind of raids we have here, we actually have 2 Kirito raids. So the first one comes from the starter deck. So this one is a 4 cost, 4k BP, and then on play, if there's an Asuna, you get a double attack, and also you can switch. So basically you can change something from the front line to the energy line and swap them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's pretty good. Also, the aggression with the double attack, that's kind of like a multi-attack.
Yeah, it's not like damage too where they can possibly block it.
Yeah.
And that's like your turn. It's like you swing and then they restand, and it's like, dang, now I have to.
Oh yeah, especially in this meta, damage 2 is kind of falling off because you have 4500 with Garo, Silver Fang, and then you have the Saitamas, which are 10k. So damage 2 isn't really becoming
that relevant.
Except for maybe Lancelot. Lancelot's probably the only one who can really use
it. Clears something, and yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have our other Kirito raid, which
that's a signature. Version. That's a signature thing.
Yep.
Is that what we're gonna pull for in our boxes?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna pull for. Got that case ready to go. So we got a 5 cost 4k BP, and when in the front line, at the end of this character's attack, you may choose an Asuna on your energy line and switch positions with this character. So basically, you're attacking, the trigger happens, and then at the end of the attack, you're able to move this to the energy line and then bring back an Asuna.
Specifically an Asuna.
It has to be an Asuna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but so it's kind of like Tanjiro and Nezuko in that effect.
Okay, but there's so many Asunas in this deck that you're bound to see one. Oh,
exactly.
Okay. All right, dang, that's crazy.
And then we have a Asuna raid, which is a 4 cost 4 KBP. So if there's a if there's a Kirito on the field, you gain impact 1, and then your turn. So once per turn, if this character moves outside of the move phase, which is kind of like the gimmick of the deck,
Yeah.
you this character gains when attacking, draw 1 card during this turn.
Oh.
So you're kind of getting that refund back, you know.
That's pretty good. We always like plusing off of cards.
Yeah, and then we have a few cards here. So like we said, the 5 cost, it needs a lot of asana. So obviously we have the raid, we have the 0 cost, but we also have a few others. So we have a 2 cost and a 4 cost. So the 2 costs, like I said, the kind of gimmick of the deck is it's a 2 cost 3K once per turn if this character moves outside of your.
Alright, so back in this video, Izzy, what are some more cards that you think like we would want to see in our starting hand, maybe going first or second? And if you have any cool combos for us, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say we have an ideal hand for each start. So the first cards, I would say, obviously you always got to start with 0. I think the most ideal 0 to start with is the Asuna. She's a 2K body, so she's really strong to push out and all that jazz. You do have the other ones, which are mainly which is the Kirito, which is 1500, and then the Yui, which is also 1500, but it draws you a card and then you sideline a card.
Yeah.
The reason why those aren't as relevant, obviously, the 2K stat line is good. And the other thing is, usually you want the Kirito or the Yui like later on for the card draw and everything else, right? And it's mainly for their triggers that you want them for.
Yeah.
So like I said, starting first, you would want to start with Asuna. And then second turn, you can do any variation. You could even have like another 0 cost, right? But ideally, you would want the Searcher Kirito. And what you mainly want to search for your raids, specifically this Kirito. This Kirito is really good early because he's obviously getting double attack, and you're able to switch certain cards with effects, and that's what I'll show later in the combo video, or the combo part of the video. And also, it only gets double attack for the turn, so it's not a high resource card that you need later on in late game. It's just going to be a 4K beater at that point. You usually want to protect your 5 cost and Kirito, and then your 4 cost Asuna, so usually you don't want to play those early.
Oh.
So yeah, once you go into that and you search for your cards, then you would go into the 2 energy generator. Mainly because on your third turn, you usually want to push out this 2K body so that you can then like start off your combos with other cards, like mainly this guy, right? Which can push out another body. So now you're already getting 2 swings on your third turn.
Ooh, that's the color trigger, right?
Yeah, this is the color trigger.
Yeah, and then I'll play and move something forward?
Yeah, you can choose up to 1 character on your area and move it to another line.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I mean, only enough, like if you push this up, you could technically push it back with this, right?
Yeah.
Or you just push up another body.
2 swings, dang.
Yeah, and you're still staying at a good energy generation, which is 4 right here. That's the other nice thing about this deck is that most of its raid targets are usually cards that you would want to play in your deck anyways. Like these 2 energy generators are pretty ideal, right? It's a 3K 2 energy generator, then the restand, or as long as it's active, it generates 2 energy. That one's also a really good card. And at any time, you can always raid on top of them. So like this could literally be your turn 3, right? Swinging 4 times already. It's just that.
Whoa. That's potentially 4 health, though. On turn 3? Yeah, they probably only have 1 blocker.
Yeah, they're probably only going to have like 1 blocker max. So if you're going second, the ideal start, like I said, as always, Asuna is always good. And then any variation of 0 cost, and then this is your only 1 cost. So this would be the ideal first turn. And then for your second turn, you actually don't want to do the 2 energy generator. You want to do the Asuna. The main reason is you really need a lot of Asunas on your area for certain things like your raids, right? Your raids are very necessary. And also, specifically this Asuna is like, this is like your lowest cost card that can become a 4,000, right?
Yeah.
So it generates a lot of pressure very early on. And then obviously the last card, this card is really, really good on your second turn because you can just push this up and then you're attacking once. And sometimes, as I'll show you in the combo video, if you have like a final or something, you can play out like another body, like maybe this Yui. This Yui is like really good. It's one of the few cards that isn't Kirito or Asuna that I would play. And it basically says it's a 3-cost 2k BP. On play, choose one of the following effects. So you can either look at the top 2 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 character or field card among them and add it to your hand, and then place the rest at the bottom. Or you can play up to 1 blue character with required energy of 2 or less and 1 AP cost from your hand to the field, right?
Oh.
So you can play this out, and then you can just play out like another one of these Asunas with your final, and then you're gonna have a lot more bodies to push up because this deck is very just pressure heavy because you don't want to go past like turn 4 or turn 5. Like you usually want to end the game by turn 4.
Oh man.
Yeah. And you can potentially end the game turn 3 if they don't have any blockers.
Yeah, if they're not like, if they're not blocking it up or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is rare because in this game you kind of don't want to do that because you want to generate your energy. And pushing up sometimes like that affects you negatively.
Yeah, exactly.
This being the color trigger is so good.
Yeah.
Because
really
obviously
good.
it's a 4-0 and its effect is just too good too.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's really strong for the deck.
I love when decks are like, they give you the tools and it's like a 2-for-1 basically. Like,
Yeah, it's 2 for 1. It's Kirito in name, which is what you want. Everything's really good about the card. So I showed the Yui here. Yui's like I think it's one of the only cards other than the 0-cost Yui, obviously, which is kind of a necessary card because it filters your hand, and it's a draw trigger, and obviously you need 12 0-costs.
yeah.
So yeah, or at least 11, I would say.
No, I'm just thinking about that Metabot player. He had like 16 zeros.
Yeah, 16. Yeah, for a battle, pretty wild. So this is a good tech piece. Another card would be there's a 3-cost 1 AP Lizbeth. What she basically does is once per turn, whenever a character moves outside of the movement phase, you get to draw 1, trash 1. So that's really nice for like filtering your hand as well.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say is this deck really just, you go down to like 1 or 2 cards really quickly. So having the Lizbeth is not as good as this one because with this one you can search the card out and it's like a 1-for-1, while the Lizbeth is just filtering. So in terms of combos, your combos are usually on your 3rd turn. The ideal combo let me see. The ideal turn order,
Turn 1 or 2.
you usually want to do this, right?
Going first or second?
You want to go second.
So you want to go
Ideally,
second?
you want to go second.
Now this is like your setup.
Yeah, and then obviously the second turn, like I said before, you go into that. So in a hypothetical world, if they have no blockers, this is 1 damage, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't die. So on your 3rd turn, what you're basically looking for is any variation of Asuna to play out. What you can do on your 3rd turn is play this, push this up, right, on your 3rd turn. And then you can play this for 1 AP. And then it can push this up. It'll make it a 4K body. And then your next thing is, you can play anything in the back line, basically. Honestly, you want to keep the amount of asanas you have in play to be high. So I'd probably just play this asana right here. And then you can just raid on top of this. Or if you feel like you don't you have a very high cost hand, you can just raid on top of this one. But if you raid on this one, right now you're swinging with 5 times because this gives double attack, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, if they have no blockers, it's they're at 1 life, right? And the game is basically over because this guy, this Asuna specifically,
When she moved up.
yeah, when she's moved up outside of the movement phase, she becomes a 5k impact 1. So it's like if they're at 1 life, unless they have impact nullify, they're not going to survive the next turn after that. And like I said, if you happen to, on the second turn, if you happen to have a final, you had played this early on. Say you had played like another body early on. Probably like Yui. This is the reason why Yui is strong, is it generates a lot more bodies on board.
Yeah.
So if you have Yui, on second turn, say you did final, you played out this Kirito, you push this up, play you up front, you put this Kirito in the back. That means on your third turn, you can go, like I said, this guy is what you want to raid for, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can push this up. Play this, push this up. And then now you can just go Kirito, Kirito.
That's wild.
And then now you have 6 attacks. And that's basically game if they don't have a blocker. Right.
Nah, that's
So,
good.
yeah, this deck has a lot of pressure.
Bruh. Makes me not wanna go against this. No, it's fine.
Now for the 5 cost Kirito, I know I didn't show him at all, or the Asuna. They're honestly mainly for the mid game, when the opponent has blocked a lot. You're entering a phase where you're just trying to generate as many 4K bodies up front as you can. And Asuna, whenever you raid, right, you're using 1 card, and then if you push her up, she gets to draw a card. So you're kind of refunding yourself, which is really nice. So this combo is like pretty good, right? Because you don't technically even have to push her up with a raid. You can just keep her in the back, play this, swing, and then at the end of his attack, you can switch with the Asuna, and then you can swing.
And because they'll switch her effect accurates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That's why I think, in terms of switch decks, this is probably like one of the safer ones. It's also the same with Speed of Sound Sonic, because in Tanjiro and Nezuko, your Nezuko is always going to stay up front. So the thing that switches is vulnerable, and it's a 3500 on the board compared to the Speed of Sound Sonic or the Kirito, which is able to move back and get protected in the energy line.
Okay, I see.
So essentially, this deck I think will be a very strong contender for the deck. I think it'll have good matchups. I did kind of play with some One Punch Man decks against Green Saitama specifically. There were moments where he got 3 kings on the front line, and I lost. But I believe that the matchup is basically like 60-40 in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 60-40 because this game, there's any multi-attack deck it's always vulnerable to specials or any type of bounce effect or anything like that.
Triggers,
Yeah, any type of trigger that'll affect the board. So, there's always a chance that you'll lose to even favorable matchups. But most of the time, you're gonna be consistently swinging 5 attacks, like every turn after turn 3. So that's why I think this was probably gonna be a contender. Like you'll probably see a top.
Yeah, for sure.